At the center of every single ancient city, there's a huge mysterious structure. Now some say it's a shrine to the Warden, others think of it as just an odd monument. However, many see it as a gateway to a whole new realm. So let's just assume that this is a portal. What mysterious world could we find if we were to open it? Well, let's find out. This could be a realm shrouded in darkness, where the land is entirely composed of pulsating skulk blocks. Towering mountains of skulk might stretch towards the heavens, their jagged peaks disappearing into the shadowy abyss. The sky above is a vast, open void, swirling with dark blue particles. Perhaps those particles are the restless souls that are unfortunately trapped in this forgotten realm. Now potentially this sky could turn into the void whenever the players get too high, and thus that could allow for yet another soul to be added to the Skulks collection. But if the void is above land in this dimension, there might not be a void below it. Instead, this eerie skulk-filled dimension could harbour vast, ominous oceans. But these might not be ordinary bodies of water. Instead, these could be a pool of lost liquid souls, eternally trapped beings that glow with an eerie blue light. The water here does not drown those who enter it, but at the same time, it offers no comfort either, for the souls will be whispering curses and tormenting the player whenever they dare swim near. The oceans themselves hate you, especially if you don't subscribe. Now the deeper one goes into these oceans, the darker and more oppressive the waters might become. The oceans will never end, and the torment will only get more extreme. That being said though, there is some hope within these oceans. Maybe while exploring the dark oceans of this lost world, players could encounter remnants of the ancient city, decaying buildings that have been transported from a once grand city. These parts of the city would be rare, but the deeper into the dark ocean one goes, the greater the possibility of an encounter. These buildings would contain the same sort of loot that's found in the ancient cities, but perhaps at greater volumes, due to the fact that no one would be down here to steal it. And who knows, among the loot you might even stumble upon the legendary subscribe button. It might not help you survive, but it sure is worth having, so please subscribe. The addition of these submerged buildings would add significant lore to Minecraft, as who would have built them? How were they transported into these oceans? And why? So many questions. But back on the surface, there might also be structures up there. It is possible that we could find the same warden-shaped portals from the ancient city scattered across this lost world dimension. They might be positioned in such a way that they could match up to each ancient city back within the overworld. So in a way, this lost world dimension could serve as an easy transport link between cities. Perhaps these were the gateways that allowed the mystical skulk into the overworld, and that's how the great infection of the overworld begun. The Lost World is a rather open dimension, as it does have a sky, and so that opens up the possibility of having a day-night cycle within this realm. So here's an idea of how that might work. Most of the time it's night in the Lost World. The skies are dark blue, and ominous shadows fill the land. But once every 8 Minecraft days, the sun could rise over this dark world. Now, it wouldn't be by much, but it could be enough to turn the skies a little pink. And it is at that point that the Wardens could wake up. In every corner of the Lost World, hundreds of Wardens rise up from the skulk, and they begin listening out for any intruders. If they find nothing, they'll just burrow back into the land after a few minutes, and the sun will set with the world being plunged back into darkness. But if they detect you, well, it's all over. Every 8 days, players who enter the Lost World will have to deal with that minor challenge, but if they can make it through that, they will be left in an otherwise empty realm, as no other entities spawn here. But no entities doesn't mean that this realm is devoid of any challenge. Far from it. This world is probably the most challenging realm of them all, with players being inflicted with a permanent darkness effect whenever they enter, severely limiting their vision. But that's just the start of it, for this world will randomly torment the player through the screeches of mournful souls. The faint sound of old, ominous music echoes in the distance, constantly shifting and forever just out of reach. To further add to this ominous ambiance, you might even hear your own heartbeat. Slow, steady, and then nothing. The silence suffocates you. But just when you think it's safe, BAM! A warden strikes from the shadows. Or maybe nothing happens at all, and the ominous soundscape returns, leaving you on edge, waiting for the next scare. It's a scary world, so why would anyone ever go here? Well, first off, for every day that you spent here, in the Lost World, 8 days pass in the Overworld, so in a way, you can somewhat time travel. Additionally, for many players, this world can serve as a training ground, pushing each player to their absolute limit. This world would be home to new achievements and challenges unlike anything that we have ever seen. The relentless psychological pressure from the unknown is the ultimate test of your sanity. So if this place was real, would you dare to survive in this twisted, dark dimension? Or would you rather hear about the time that those brave, or foolish, villagers attempted to create a settlement within the Nether? Well, watch this video to uncover their fate and to learn what a Nether village would look like.